Well, with the playing of that unfamiliar music, I'm going to have to find you a better theme somewhere, Michael. It's time to go check in on Michael Snyder out in California, and he's got some movie reviews for you. Hi, Michael. How are you?
I'm fine, Alex, and we are culture blasting away on the left coast, and totally delighted at some of the things we're encountering in movie land for a change, and then shocked and disturbed by the crap as ever. You want to start with some smart, idea-driven science fiction? What do you say?
Sure, why not?
Very, very happy to say that Transcendence, a movie starring Johnny Depp, who can get on a man's nerves after a number of years, is a pretty well-made and thought-provoking science fiction film about, among other things, artificial intelligence, what we can and should allow computers to do for us, and whether the internet and indeed technology is so all-pervasive that humanity is putting itself at risk. All of those ideas and more. Plus, that old favorite, the end justifies the means. Johnny Depp plays Dr. Will Castor. His wife is played by the terrific British actress Rebecca Hall, who you will probably remember from Vicky Cristina Barcelona, and she was opposite Benedict Cumberbatch in Parade's End, a pretty wonderful miniseries. Very talented. Plus, Paul Bettany plays their best pal. All of them are computer experts. All of them are geniuses in their way, but the Johnny Depp character of Dr. Castor is the top dog. And unfortunately, technology running rampant has created a terrorist opposition that says that we are letting computers and the internet do too much for us. And they're starting to fear the idea of a completely linked, godlike World Wide Web. And they start doing some pretty horrific things that result in Dr. Castor, spoiler alert, being on the verge of death. So what happens when a guy like this is on the verge of death and the scientists have figured out a way to upload brain patterns to a computer? All right, trouble ensues. And I have to tell you, I go into these things with a chip on my shoulder always, like show me. And they showed me, and they told me, and they kept me riveted for 2 hours. The movie is co-written and directed by Wally Pfister, who is the cinematographer for Christopher Nolan. And it's just a very smart and very solid and very disturbing movie that most importantly forces the viewer to analyze options and look at the morality on all sides and decide who's in the right or the wrong. So it's one of those shades of gray situations, and not 50, maybe a Google of shades of gray. And most importantly, it's disturbing and it's exciting, and the effects are used in the service of the story and knocked me out. Anyway, I really thought Transcendence was good and worth your time. If you like sci-fi, if you like idea-driven art, this is a movie for you. Morgan Freeman, Cillian Murphy, Kate Mara, solid supporting cast. Dug it, man. I think you should see it. Heaven is for Real, on the other hand.
Oh, boy.
Well,
I could review I could review this movie for you without you even reviewing it. Treacle.
Go ahead.
Treacle.
No. Yeah, that's fair. Okay. It's based on the New York Times bestseller of the same name, and it's all about a small town father who has to cope with, and he's a minister at the local church. He has to deal with the idea that, in fact, all the stuff he's preaching may be legitimate, like he's supposed to believe. But when confronted with the potentially revealing, life-altering information that his little boy has on the verge of death, found himself at the gates of heaven and meeting Jesus and seeing old relatives of the guys that the kid knows nothing about. How will he approach this to the congregation? How will people deal with it in this small town? Can he tell the world about this extraordinary, life-changing circumstance? Is the little boy out of his nut? What are these questions that we have to keep confronting about God and man? And is there an afterlife? Okay, so this is part of a wave of Christian proselytizing movies, I think, in a lot of ways, and yet it's so earnest, and it stars Greg Kinnear as the father, and Thomas Hayden Church. I mean, with the last name like Church, he had to be in this movie as the guy's best friend, a banker, and Kelly Riley from the UK. Or is it Ireland? I don't know. She's a terrific actress from over there. She plays the wife as an American. And, you know, the kid that plays the kid is good and believable. And it's like I said, earnest and well shot. But ultimately, there's some real ham-fisted dialogue. There's a performance as a local church elder, if you will, by Margot Martindale, who's such a wonderful character actress and plays villains and psychos so well. And she plays, you know,
the perfect sister. The perfect sister, oddly enough, for Meryl Streep. They actually, in a strange way, look like they could be sisters in, or what is that?
August Osage County.
Yeah.
She's a good actor, and she plays like, I'm skeptical. You're going to bring humiliation upon the church. Dude, I just wasn't buying it for the entire length of it. But it's so earnest, and obviously it's going to find its audience. Now, before we move on, during the credits at the screening I saw, this is no joke. And by the way, the guy who directed it was Randall Wallace of Braveheart fame. You know, you cannot take my God from me. I was expecting something really powerful like that, but I didn't get it. Anyway, I have to say that during the credits stop, and Greg Kinnear, as Greg Kinnear, appears on screen and says, well, if you liked Heaven is for Real, hashtag, get on Twitter and tell everybody, do hashtag Heaven is for Real, and encourage your friends to see it this Easter weekend. It was such horrifying pandering. I mean, I didn't even know what to think. So it went down a few notches in my book. Look, people believe in things. People have faith. I find that gratifying on some level.
Yeah.
People choose the righteous path. Great.
Yeah.
But this movie,
but exploiting it is disgusting.
I just wasn't buying in. Fading Gigolo is a real surprise. It's one of the first films in a while where Woody Allen is in the cast and plays a part and has nothing to do with the writing or directing. And he is wonderful. Forget about his personal life and what you might think and what we don't know and what we do know about his personal life. And you can forget about him as a writer and director of his own films and a star in his own movies. He is so good in Fading Gigolo as a wannabe pimp for his best friend who is in financial straits, a florist, and who ends up being catnip to cougars. He turns out to be just what the doctor ordered for some well-heeled New York women who need a little loving and no burdens, no baggage, no connections. Okay, this is a film directed by John Turturro, who stars as Fioravante, or Floravante, whatever it is, Fioravante, I think that's his name. And he's the man who ends up being the gigolo of the cast. And Woody is a cash-strapped buddy of his, who has a bookstore that's going to be closing because the money's going. And Woody, by the way, it's kind of interesting. He's in a mixed-race relationship with a sassy African-American woman. Not quite a mixed-race relationship with a young Asian woman, but still, Woody was right in his comfort zone. He is so very funny in this film, and he carries the movie in a way. Liev Schreiber plays a local Orthodox Jewish cop in their neighborhood who keeps an eye on things. You know, kind of not really a policeman, but sort of a deputy or a designate. And Vanessa X, French actress and model, plays an Orthodox Jewish woman who needs lovin', and it may very well be provided by the Turturro character, if she's lucky, I guess.
This is directed by Turturro?
Yes, and Sharon Stone and also Sofia Vergara are a couple of women who are looking for a little romance. It's a good cast. It's not a great film, mind you. The script could be better, but man, Woody is good in this film. Fading Gigolo at least was a satisfying hour and a half for me at the movies.
Yeah.
And good to see him do stuff like this.
Mm-hmm.
Tasting Menu is, believe it or not, what it appears to be a co-production of Ireland and Spain with a really good cast. It's an ensemble comedy that should be right up your alley if you're a foodie. And it's about a great restaurant in Catalonia, where Barcelona is located in the southeast of Spain. And this restaurant is closing. And for the final night, all kinds of patrons and fans and customers, well-heeled, long-time lovers of the restaurant, are going to show up for this last meal. And things are going to obviously go awry. It's beautifully shot, pleasant and mild stuff. And again, the cast is very good. Claudia Bassols, who's a pretty terrific Spanish actress, who actually our pal Rob Schneider had her in his series on CBS as his wife. And Fionnula Flanagan, who was in Lost and has been on Broadway and gotten accolades, plays an older woman from the UK, a wealthy woman who is a big patron of the restaurant, and she's going to be flown in. Stephen Ray is in this thing. But I would have preferred more close-ups of the dishes and the prep. When you see a foodie movie, you kind of want that. One of the cool things about Steve Coogan's series, The Trip, that he did with Rob Brydon, his friend, is, and it was also cobbled together into a film, is you see them making the food and you hear about the food. Not enough of that in Tasting Menu. And it's pretty, weak sauce, ultimately, script-wise, but, enjoyable on some level. I was disappointed by it, to be frank. Shockingly, the independent movie Hank and Asha.
Hold on a second. Let me clear something up. You said that Catalonia was in the southeast part of Spain.
Is it not?
No, northeast. Completely north.
How come Catalan? How come Barcelona is in Catalan?
Barcelona is in the northern eastern part of Spain. Catalonia is on the border, the northern border of Spain.
Catalonia is Barcelona is on the Mediterranean.
Yes, it's on the Mediterranean. It is east, but it is northeast, not southeast, like you said.
Well, if the southernmost border of Spain is the Mediterranean.
No, it's the easternmost border of Spain.
Oh, you're curving it around somehow. Oh, because it's dropping off the continent.
It's at the very top of Spain.
It really isn't.
Yes, it is. I'm looking at the map right now, and it's got Catalonia, and it's got a red place there, and it's right on the border of France.
Right, and France is to the east, and then both of them have a southern border, and it's the Mediterranean.
France is to the north of Spain.
The north. Yeah. Interesting. I think I see where you're going here.
Believe me, I'm looking at a map. It's the northeast of Spain.
In my mind, the Mediterranean is south of Spain. But hey, whatever.
No, it's to the east of Spain.
Oh, I see, because it hangs down off of
No, it's to the east of Spain. It's on the shores of the Mediterranean completely cover the eastern portion of Spain.
Except for the part that's covered by France.
Well, France curves around and is in the northern. The southern part of France faces the Mediterranean.
Hey, this was a general statement. I know it's on the Pyrenees. I know it's right up against the French border.
It's not even close to being southeast, however. I just wanted to clear that up. No, go look at a map.
Hey, listen, I'd rather look at another movie.
He would never want to admit he's wrong. Okay.
Listen, I've been to Barcelona. It seemed like the south part of Spain.
No, it was not the south part of Spain. Not even closer. When you said that, I went, I've been to Barcelona. It's in the north of Spain.
Yeah, I need an atlas in front of me, apparently.
Well, look at it and then write me and tell me what you think.
I'll.
And I hope when you go to Europe next week, you can find it. Okay.
Oh, very, very nice, very nice. I'll be contacting you from the Pyrenees then. We'll see where we're at.
Yeah.
Okay. Hank and Asha is a really wonderful independent movie. It's kind of, in some ways, it's my favorite film that we're talking about here so far. It's about two young people, an Indian woman who is in Prague studying filmmaking, and a New York guy who's made a couple of documentaries, and one of them has been in a film festival over in Prague. The girl sees the film sees the film in Prague, and seeks the guy out on the net and sends him, a video message, and they begin this long-distance relationship, contacting one another. And since they're both filmmakers, they make these cute little movies back and forth to communicate and reveal their lives. And it's about it's about long distance connections. It's about technology in a way, and it's also about differing cultures and how we are basically what our cultures make us on occasion. And the relationship they develop is kind of sweet and poignant and a little heartbreaking. And I thought it was terrific. Hank and Asha, again, something made on a shoestring and not a very long film, about 75, 80 minutes maybe. And I was very moved by it and very entertained. The young actors in the film, it was directed by a guy named James Duff and co-written by him and a woman named Julia Morrison. And Mahira Kakar and Andrew Pastidis are just great as Asha and Hank. I really, really enjoyed this movie a lot. A quick note about a couple of documentaries. The Galapagos Affair, Satan Came to Eden. This is a must-see. This is out of control. Back in the 30s, a Berlin doctor and his mistress moved to an uninhabited island in the Galapagos. That's as extreme and as out there as you can get, Floriana. And they send letters home. And back in Germany, people find out about their relationship via these letters getting published, and they become media stars. It's almost like reality TV way early, but they attract more attention. And another couple shows up. This is just what they don't want. They fancied themselves Adam and Eve. And another couple shows up, causing some friction. And finally, are you ready? A gun-toting Viennese baroness and her two lovers show up. Mm-hmm. And she fancies herself queen of the island. They shoot little movies and stuff. All of this ends up in this documentary, The Galapagos Affair. And letters and various articles are voiced by Kate Blanchett, Thomas Kretschmann, Diane Kruger, Connie Nielsen, Josh Radnor. And you see archival footage, you see like news stuff, and you see some really cool photos. It is an amazing story, and something really messed up happens on the island. I don't want to spoil it, but something messed up, and it turns into something some people have said worthy of Hitchcock.
Okay.
So I thought that was cool. Finally, Watermark is a movie all about man's relationship to water. We have a lot of it on planet Earth, and this is a very visual, atmospheric look at the power and the pervasiveness of water on the planet, and everything from abalone farms off the coast of China and the biggest dam in the world being constructed to these barren reaches near the Colorado, surfing championships in Huntington Beach, sacred baths in the Ganges. And it reminded me a little of like the Koyaanisqatsi type films of Godfrey Reggio. Not a lot of narration, really, just all visual power, but I thought it was pretty cool. Finally, I want to mention our pal Greg Proops. Greg Proops.
He was on the show last week, by the way.
Excellent. Yeah. He has self-released a concert performance video.
Yes, he plugged that.
Greg Proops live at Musso and Frank. He is one of the brightest, smartest, most instinctively witty guys I know, a great improvisational comedian, a great orator, a comedian of ideas, and his intellectual high wire act, as I like to say, is on full display in Live at Musso and Frank, which you can get, I think, for just $4 at gregproops.com. And it really is worth the money. If you have a chance to see him live, it's phenomenal. He's wonderful. He's the sweetest man imaginable and very, very, very smart.
Yeah, we plugged all that last week, actually.
Can't get enough of him. Yeah. Seriously.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about your video.
In fact, this show will be playing on our on the weekend that we play our Gabnet Rewind programs, and my program, one of the hours of that program is Greg Proops, so they might want to stay here and keep listening.
I hope so, and I assume, I haven't heard it, but the two of you make for great conversation, and Greg is just a pleasure, and I think he's great. And that's it. What do you got in television? Anything you're watching?
Well, Fargo. That's the best thing I've seen on television, and that includes, I will include True Detective, which was outstanding. This is head and shoulders above that.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to seek it out and start getting on the Fargo train shortly. I'm looking forward to Orphan Black coming back. I'm looking forward to a few things. And, hey, come on, Tatiana Maslany.
I know. When you get a hard-on for an actress, all of a sudden something becomes good. But I got to tell you, I tried watching that show, and I tried for about 5 weeks and I gave up on it.
I kept with it, and it rewarded me. And I don't think she's that hot. I just think she's talented. Believe it or not. Anyway, that's about it. You can follow me on Twitter.
Oh, yeah.
At Culture Blaster, or check us out at Michael Snyder's Culture Blast on Facebook. And, of course, stay tuned to the Great American Broadcast Network for me and Alex and everybody else.
Yeah, as our GabNet Rewind weekend continues. But if you're listening to this on Friday, it hasn't started yet. Anyway, thanks for joining us, Michael. And thank you for joining Michael. And, of course, his Culture Blast segment here on the Great American Broadcast Network.